Hello, Supernatural family. It has been a while, and I deeply apologize for that. I know I had a lot of these ideas on. Sorry. I know I had a lot of ideas on what kind of videos, like what kind of subjects I would be talking about for Supernatural. I know I had all of that planned for years, but of course, I had to focus on my school first, and then um, yeah, I had to focus on my school first, and then I had to find a job. So I finally found one. Um, Not gonna say where I work, but it pays. So, that's worth it. Hey Trenchy, what's up, dude? It's been a while. So, yeah, I've been having a job since October 23rd, and yeah, it's not much, but it's still worth it, So yeah, that's what's been going on lately. And then the previous relationship I was in, like, I think back in 2023, around there, um, that ended, and it ended like in 2024 in January. And then I got into a new relationship on April 25th, 2025. And that relationship has been going very, very, very well. And tomorrow will be our 1 year anniversary of being together in this relationship, which makes me happy, but at the same time, um, this is where the personal part comes in. His phone must have been hacked or something, because I got this message on Discord saying something um, yeah, what did it say exactly? I'm gonna try to read the message because you would understand why I'm so scared and just feeling like, okay, what's going on here? But the message says, "Leave my son alone. He's in the hospital and doesn't need you filling his head with this long distance love bullshit." And I'm thinking, like, wait, what? Like, I know we live in different parts of the same state, but you know, like, we still talk to each other every day, and we may not live together, we may not see each other every day, but we still love each other. Isn't that what matters? So for days I've been looking for him, because I know where he works. I just don't know which part of that area that he works at. So I've been searching high and low, and now I'm just like, okay, I don't know what's going on here, but if he knew how much I was crying, how depressed I was and everything, he wouldn't like that. He would be like, "Honey, you gotta take care of yourself. Um, you gotta take better care of yourself. You gotta eat. You gotta, you know, um, remember that I always find my way back to you no matter what." Yeah, yeah, exactly. It does. Yeah, Trenchy, it does sound like an annoying mom or sister thing to do. He has told me before that he's not really in a good relationship with his mom and stepfather. Like he did tell me that, but it's like they wouldn't go overboard such as this. I, at least in my opinion, I don't think they would. Like, they may be, they may not get along with him all that great, but you know, they wouldn't go overboard like this. That I know for a fact because we've known each other for 7 years, and you know, it, it wouldn't go this far where all of a sudden like it's close for us on our 1 year anniversary, and all of a sudden, poof, gone. It wouldn't just happen like that out of nowhere, unless if his phone got hacked or something. And that's why I keep thinking this. But I do remember there was a time where I think I was live once, um, when I was watching that show called The Winchesters, and um, Jensen Ackles, and I think, oh man, who else? It was that actor who played as Bobby Senior, um, Jim something. But anyways, they were the guest stars in the Winchesters episode, and when I was watching that, um, my boyfriend joined that live chat, and now I'm thinking, what happens if I, you know, get on live again? Yeah, yeah, Trenchy, Jim Beaver. Yes, thank you, Jim Beaver. So, it's been a while for me since I've watched Supernatural, since I was focusing on schoolwork and then finding a job and everything. So, yeah, it's been a while for me since I've watched Supernatural. So my apologies on that. Huge brain fart there. But but yeah, since he did since my current boyfriend, since like it was years ago, I think like I think a couple of years ago when I was live um watching the Winchesters episode, he did show up in the live chat on YouTube, and I was like, "Whoa, hey, is this you?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's me." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." So now I'm thinking, if I put myself live on YouTube and he's watching this, would he be able to get back with me? Because if so, I would be so happy. So, my love, if you're watching this, I just want to know that you're okay, that you're safe, and all of that. Like I know we talked every day, but I don't know what's going on currently, but it's scaring me, and I just want to know that you're okay and that you're safe. So, on to a little more personal note. Thank you, Trenchy. I hope so too. Hopefully, if he does watch this, he'll know that you know that I'm looking for him and everything. So hopefully so. But work has been good. Um, I'm not gonna lie now. I do work at a McDonald's, and it's not too bad, but there are just some things here and there that are kind of annoying. Like, when the customer walks up to you at the register and they tell you what they want, they say, "Oh, I want the number 3." And then you're like, "Oh, okay." And then they say, "Yeah, and I want that with a large Coke." And I'm like, "Oh, well, then you want that as a meal?" And they're like, "Yeah, as a meal." I'm like, "Medium or large?" Medium." I'm like, "Okay. Well, you could have said, I want a medium number 3." But no, you had to say, "I want number 3," but not specified. Because when you say you want number 3, we're going to think that you only mean the sandwich or just the nuggets. We're not going to think, oh, yeah, they're talking about the meal. You know, you got to specify with us and be like, "I want a medium number 3 with a large Coke or a medium Coke," whichever comes first? Like you gotta specify because we're not mind readers. We're not gonna be like, oh yeah, they want the meal. No, no. You it's like specify with us people. And one of the other hardest things is that sometimes I'm the only one working at the front register, which means I have to go buy everything. I have to clean tables, I have to collect trays, I have to deliver food to the curbside parking lot and the drive-through parking lot, and I also have to take people's orders. I gotta clean the McFlurry machine. Um, make people's ice creams no matter which way it goes, and also make, their drinks if it's like coffee or frappes. It's like I gotta make that, and then I gotta make sure everything's organized. So sometimes that, like just working at front by yourself, can be very frustrating and overwhelming because you're like, how am I supposed to do this and then that, this, that, like all at once? I feel like I'm in a ping pong game. So, sometimes it can be very, very frustrating. So, but the ups on this is that a lot of times when you do ask for help, they do get people to help you. So that's the plus side. So that I'm very, very happy with. And and yeah, of course there's meal breaks. I love those meal breaks. I get to watch like Fruits Basket or something like that. Like I got myself into anime recently, like for the past year now, and my favorite anime so far is Fruits Basket. That one is a really good one, and um, yeah, watching. I've been watching it a lot because it's my most favorite, and yeah, I watch that during my meal breaks, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. And but there are days where I come home and I'm like, oh, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. You never heard of Fruits Basket? Oh my gosh, Trenchy, you gotta look it up soon, because I actually forgot how to like share pictures and stuff on here, because I think this is a upgrade of StreamYard, to be honest with you, because I'm seeing a whole a whole different thing. Like it's still StreamYard, but there's a total update here, and I'm like, okay, what is all this? So I don't know how to show a picture of it, but yeah, try looking it up. I can try messaging you on Twitter and like give you the title of it, or I can put it here for you. Let's see here. And my boyfriend was also referring to me on what other anime shows to watch. Like there was Doctor Stone and One Piece, and I was like, okay, I'll give those a try, And for a while, I never did because I was too busy with work and everything. So yeah, just but I'll get to it. I'll definitely be getting to it, but I just wanted to give this personal update on what's been going on because I feel like there's just a lot on my mind, and I just need to let it out and everything. One Piece has like 4 million episodes. Yeah. My boyfriend did warn me about that too. He's like, be warned, One Piece has a lot of episodes, and I was like, how many exactly? So when he told me how many, I was like, whoa, shit. So yeah, but you know, thank you, Trenchy. I really appreciate that. I've honestly have been crying, ever since this whole thing happened, like a possible hack or whatever, but I have been crying. I've been depressed, and my love, if you're hearing this later on, I'm sorry that you're hearing this, but it's true. I've been depressed. I've been crying. Have I haven't been really eating much, but I still try to eat. And yeah, he's been great with me. Like when we were talking before this whole thing happened, he was always giving me compliments, like, calling me gorgeous, beautiful, and, all of that. He was making me smile, blush. He even, came to my house a couple of times where, we got to spend some time together. And, you know, I'm missing him really, really much right now. And I'm gonna try not to cry, but knowing him, he would want me to be strong. He wouldn't want me to cry. You know, he wouldn't want me to be starving, like kind of like how I am now. Like I am deep down hungry, deep down. I am so hungry. Oh, another personal note. Um, Last year, around the same time that Val Kilmer passed away, I got COVID. It was horrible. It was such a horrible feeling. Like it kind of felt like being hit by a bus. And you're like, whoa, what hit me? And it took like maybe a few weeks to get better, but you know, we got I got better eventually, you know, and all that. So yeah, and then when we heard that Val Kilmer had passed away, we were like, really? He has he had to go around this time, really? So yeah, that was we were very heartbroken with Val Kilmer, and then uh, yeah, now it's like months later, I'm facing this whole thing where I'm trying to stay strong. I'm trying to be brave. And I keep thinking, if not for me, then for him, because this is what he would want. And even though I feel like I'm betraying him by crying and, like not having an appetite as much, I know deep down I'm not betraying him. He would completely understand, why and everything. But, you know, deep down is like I still feel like I'm betraying him by crying and by not eating as much. So, but I know he'll find a way back to me. He always does. He wouldn't say, I'm in love with you and then poof out of nowhere, like he's been in love with me for quite a while now. So knowing that, you know, that's how I know, like, when you truly love someone, like when you really love someone like that, you don't just like, say I'm in love with you, and then you're together for like 11 months, going on a year, and then all of a sudden you're gone. It doesn't work like that. Unless if like something serious had happened, like let's say an accident, death, or something, then yeah, you know, that's when something like that would happen. But as far as I know, he's always been a careful driver. He's very nice to his customers where he works and everything. So I know he wouldn't be facing any complications. Like yeah, I know things at home, are okay with him, but not to the point where it comes this far. It wouldn't be this far. So yeah, it's that's it's why it's making me all worried and scared. and also depressed and, just like me crying. So I'm trying to hold it together for him. I really am. But at the same time, it's hard because it's like, you know, it's like when you're trying to be strong for someone else other than yourself, you end up thinking a lot of things. Like with me, I have anxiety and, um, with my depression on this, it's making me overthink things that I don't want to think about. So that is really overwhelming, especially for me. So thank you, Trenchy. I know, I know I'm not betraying anyone. It feels like I am, but I know deep down I'm not. So thank you for that. And yeah, thank you for that too. That I'm doing my best. Um, that means a lot. I'm trying not to get emotional here, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna try to distract myself. I think that's also why I'm on here. Uh, just like a distraction. That way I'm not, overthinking. But there, for the past year, I was also going to, well, actually, no, not for the past year. About 2 years ago, I was going to physical therapy, for my back since I have scoliosis, and I was also doing some workouts, which I actually miss doing. And yeah, yeah, I was getting better with that, but I kind of stopped since I was trying to focus on, my schoolwork and then finding a job. So that's why it was like put on hold, and it's still put on hold. Because working and like the way that like if you saw how we work at McDonald's, you'd be like, oh yeah, this is a workout. So so yeah, it's a lot. um for me, it's like this is just a workout itself, but I'm still trying to take care of myself and everything. But also for the past like year and a half, whatever, like somewhere around there, um I've been watching this Johnny Depp movie, and I kept thinking, would it be funny if this kind of collided with Supernatural? And here's why I'm saying that. The movie is called The Ninth Gate. If no one has seen it, look it up, watch the trailer. Um, I'll tell you a little bit about what it's about. I'm not gonna get into further details on, like the whole movie. Like I'm not gonna give you the whole storyline, but I'm just gonna tell you bits and pieces here and there. Um, so in the movie, oh, you've seen the Ninth Gate, yay! So you know what it's about. For those of you who don't know what it's about Johnny Depp's character. Um, he is traveling to Europe to authenticate this book called The Ninth Beast in the Kingdom of Shadows, which um, which that book is supposed to raise the devil. So, he goes on this journey and a lot of crazy shit happens. And, you know, a part of me kept thinking, like, would it be funny if like after all of this, like when it comes to the ending, I know the ending is very mysterious, but I kept thinking, what would have happened if he entered the gates and all of a sudden he sees Lucifer from Supernatural, and then he'll be like, hello, and then he'll be like, what's your name? Dean Corso. Corso? Then you're not a Winchester? No. Oh, I've got the wrong Dean. Because that's Johnny Depp's character's name in the movie, Dean Corso. So I just thought it would be so hilarious if something like that happened, and then he got to end up teaming up with Sam and Dean Winchester, just being like, "Who is this guy? Oh, that's Lucifer. Wait, what?" And yeah, I kept thinking how hilarious that would have been if the Ninth Gate collided with Supernatural. You know, it. I think it would have been hilarious. Like, I think it would have been a very long movie and everything, especially if the Ninth Gate wasn't made in 1999. But since it was, Supernatural came very late. So that Lucifer is late. So, but yeah, I love the movie and I was very obsessed with it and I still am. And here's why: there's a lot of clues and hidden themes in there. And Trenchy, I'm pretty sure you're gonna agree with me on that because after I watched the movie, like I think a few times, all of a sudden I started thinking all of these questions. Like I kept thinking, wait, what is this? What is that? And I'm like, wait, how this, how that? And my mind just kept going on and on like it's babbling away, thinking like the hows, whys, the whats, and all of that. So I watched it for year, like a whole year and a half, just like nonstop on watching it, and I had to watch some videos on YouTube. I had to let's see. I also had to do my own research on being like, oh yeah, like what if this? What if that? So yeah, I was watching it a lot, and I was just like, I just kept thinking that there are a lot of hidden things in the movie, and not many people really know. They just think, oh yeah, he's just author. I can't speak today. Blah blah blah. Authenticating the book. That's all he's doing. He's just doing his job, whatever. But it's like, well, what if that's not all exactly like there's like more to it. So it it raises a lot of questions. So it's almost like seeing one movie and then you kind of think it's not really a mystery movie, but then you watch it the first time, and the second, and the third, and then you start thinking all these questions, and you're like, I gotta see it again, and then you're still having more questions. You're like, I gotta see it again, and again, and again, just until you get your answers. That's the kind of person I am. I don't stop my own research until I get my answers. Kind of like this, little hunt on my boyfriend. Like, I'm just like, I gotta know what happened, and I'm not gonna stop searching until I find my answers. But like I said, knowing him, he will get in contact with me, and he'll tell me what happened. And then, once everything's all good again, I'm not gonna be depressed anymore. I'm gonna be happy, knowing that he's okay and safe. So yeah, but let's say if it is true that he's in the hospital, then I pray that he gets better, that he heals. But um yeah, I'm gonna add this one a little bit because this is what's happening every time I try calling his cell, and it raises concerns for me. Let's see here.
The wireless customer you are calling is not available. Please try again later.
Yeah, that's all I get. That's all I get. So it's like his phone number's disconnected. he no longer has his Snapchat, his TikTok, or his Discord, and I'm like having lots of questions, like how, why, what happened, and it's just a lot of questions for me. And it is for me. It's kind of affecting me, especially at work, because I get a lot of my employees who just, they always ask me how I'm doing. And the past couple of times, one of the managers, they hugged me very innocently, and then I started crying, and then, you know, they were like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And I told them a little bit about what happened, and they were like, "Well, I hope things get better," kind of like what you were saying, Tenchi. And then I had a breakdown like that again when one of my managers, she was so sweet. She told me, "I'm going to give you a hug, okay? It's called a magic hug, that things will get better." So she hugged me, and then I started crying. And she takes me to the office. That way we can have like a private moment. And then she was like, "You don't need to say anything. You don't need to talk. If you just want to cry, then cry." And I did. And then it was until I finally spoke and I told her everything. And she said to leave it in God's hands. And as much as I agree with her, at the same time, I'm still thinking, I'm still like overthinking things that I don't want to. And yeah, so that really brings out a lot. So, but I'm trying, you know, I'm trying to hang in there the best way I can. So, I keep coming back to this subject. I'm so sorry. Um, but besides all of that, yeah, life has been good, especially with my boyfriend here. Like he treats me right. You know, all I want now is for us to take that next step by, living together and, you know, just being happy. That's all I want. So yeah, that's pretty much all I want. It's good to vent. Yes, yes, it is. As much as it is good to vent, I'm trying not to cry on here because once I do, then I feel like I'm not gonna stop. That's just how it's been for the past few days. So, or I think 4 or 5 days. So I don't want to cry, not again, because I'll just feel like if I start, I'm not gonna stop. So I'm trying to stay strong. So I'm gonna keep going on life here until either he shows up or whatever. Or who knows, I might do this more often again because lately I I've been thinking like I don't know what else to do, especially when I get home from work. Like sometimes I do watch TV, sometimes I play games on my phone, but a lot of times I think like, well, I don't know what else to do. So, and what the fuck is that? Okay, that was creepy. Something moved. Something moved in my room. Like it was like somewhere on my desk that something moved. But when I'm looking, it doesn't look like anything moved at all. So that's very creepy. And yeah. Oh god. Okay. If if that's like God telling me, hey, everything's gonna be okay, and all of that, then hey, I'm taking it. But man, that was kind of scary. I was just talking, and then all of a sudden I hear a noise right on my desk. I'm like, wait, what the heck? What was that? That was creepy. Oh god. Okay, I'm gonna get past this, or at least try to. But yeah, I can talk more about the ups and downs of work. Um, like work, like I said, it has been good, but it's like sometimes you get those customers who don't specify on what they want, and you're like, hey, I'm not a mind reader. You gotta specify with me. You want it as a meal or by itself? And I only had a very few rare customers who would be specific with me, and they would be like, I want the sandwich by itself, but I also want a number two medium meal. And I would be like, finally, someone who, who is more specific in their ordering. They're not like, oh yeah, I want the number two. Well, you want it as a meal or by itself? Oh, I want it as a meal. Okay. Well, what size? Medium. I'm like, you could have said that before. Like, you could have, but you didn't. So, yeah. And the other downfall is that sometimes when you mishear customers and then you get their order wrong and you're like, shit. Like, I hope I don't get in trouble for this. So, yeah, that happened to me today. I was taking a lady's order and I accidentally put two kids meals for her, and then she had already paid, and then she was like, wait a minute, why was it this total? And I said, well, didn't you want two kids meals? And she goes, no, I only wanted one. I was like, oh crap. Like that was my fault. But I didn't get in trouble for it. I didn't. But I was just like, oh, oops. So yeah, that was my mistake. And yeah, it was my mistake. I shouldn't have um, thought like, oh yeah, she wants two kids meals. No, she only wanted one. She only wanted one, and then she wanted a hot and spicy McChicken. That's all she wanted. And then I accidentally put in two kids meals. I'm like, oops, sorry. So yeah, that's what's been happening. And let me see here, what else has happened? Um, I made some friends at work too. Um, yeah, a lot. I get along with pretty much everyone at work. Like, they're all pretty easygoing. I get along with all of them just fine. There are just some that I talk to, but not really like everyone. Everyone. I don't talk to everyone. Everyone, but just some people here and there. Oh, I've heard worse McDonald's employee stories. Oh my god. I gotta hear those sometime, Trenchy, because I'm interested. I'm interested in knowing what those stories are. If I can find those stories on YouTube, or if you can tell me all about it on Twitter, oh my god, I would be like, okay, tell me more. But oh, now it's making me think of that one video. You've seen that one video where it kind of connects with Grease and Pulp Fiction, I think it's called. It has John Travolta in it, where they go, tell me more, did you get very far? Tell me more. Does he look like a bitch? Like that's just so hilarious to me. I gotta find that at some point. Um, let's see. Let me see if I can find it now while I'm talking. Oh, yay! Thank you, Trenchy! Woohoo! Yeah, I can't wait to hear those stories because, yeah. Whenever it comes to certain stories here and there, I like to listen to them. Especially when they're so interesting to hear about, and you're like, oh, I want to hear more about it. Like no matter how scary it sounds, how gross it sounds, or how uh, let's say horrible it sounds, you still want to hear about it because you're like, as much as you hate drama, at the same time you kind of like it because you're like, I want to know what's happening. So you're like, oh, tell me more. So I actually, I like hearing those kinds of stories. I really do. Oh yeah, you've seen the video. Okay, then I'm not alone. Okay, good. Cause yeah, I don't know how many times I would tell someone like, "Have you seen this?" And they're like, "No," and I'm like, "You're missing out. You're really, really missing out." But like yeah, when with me and my sister, we grew up with Val Kilmer, and one of his movies that we know of is we know a few of his movies that other people are like, I haven't seen it. I'm like, oh my god, it was like back in the 80s or 90s. How could you not have seen it? Um, but one of them is Top Secret, the other is Real Genius, and the other one is my most favorite, Thunderheart. That Thunderheart is my most favorite one. Like I could I could watch it throughout a whole week and not get tired of it. That's how much I like the movie. So yeah, I I like watching Thunderheart, and there are some other Valkyrie movies I like to watch that people probably never have heard of. They're just like, I don't know what that is. I'm like, well, you're missing out. You're really missing out if you haven't seen it. Well, but once you've seen it, you're gonna be like, hey, I can understand now why you like the movie. So, and now I'm still trying to find that video. Let me see here. No, that's a whole different video. Doo-doo-doo. I do this almost every time I look up on something. I always do a doo doo doo. There's never anything else. Was that it? No. No, it wasn't. Okay. Huh. You've never seen Thunderheart? Oh my god. Well, I'll tell you one thing, Chunchy. If you look under, if you're if you're on YouTube, once you go under movies and TV, you'll see that Thunderheart is actually free to watch on YouTube under movies and TV. So give that a watch anytime you want to. And yeah, let me know what you think. But I hope it is the right movie, anyways, because sometimes they'll like put a certain movie on there and then they're like, oh yeah, this is a whole different movie. And you're like, this is not the movie I grew up with. What the hell did you just post? So it can be very frustrating with that. Oh man, it's really hard to find this video I'm looking for, unless it was just hidden way, way deep down. I have liked a whole lot of videos over the past year or 2 years. Oh, I found it. Oh, add it to the list. Yay! Yay! You gotta watch Thunderheart. You have to. And I found the video.
Hey, I want to hear about what Danny did at the beach. Yeah. Tell me more, tell me more. Did you get very far? Tell me more, tell me more. Does he look like a bitch?
I love that. I really do. I love that. It's It's so funny. Oh my god. I I let my mom listen to that one time, and she thought it was really funny. And around that time, we were talking about my dad because, well, he's been out of our lives since I was 15. So he's been out of our lives since like for 17 years now. So whenever we talk about him, we get really mad because we're like, okay, I just want to and yeah, we just like that's how we talk about him. And I was telling my mom it reminds me of one video, so that's when I played it for her, and she just started laughing. She was like, she was like, yeah, he does look like a bitch, and I just started laughing. I'm like, Mom. She goes, what is true? It was really funny. So yeah, and yeah, ever since Val Kilmer, I've been watching a whole lot of his movies. Like there was another one I watched called Double Identity, and it's about like how his character is a doctor in New York, but he travels to I don't know where, but he travels somewhere to take care of a patient, and these other people started following him in his car, and it's the freaking mafia, and they're thinking that he is one of their enemies, and he's like, no, my name is blah 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 blah, and I'm a doctor from New York, and they're like, yeah, right. So because of how they're tracking him down and everything, thinking that he's actually an enemy of theirs, um, he has to like, kind of like sneak around and hide from them, and he has to like find a way back to New York somehow, but he has some help along the way from a very gorgeous woman, like, whom she just like she kissed him first, and then he has been like, I think, like in love with her to where, every time they meet, they end up kissing. And I'm like, okay, they're interested in each other. Wow. So, but it's a really good movie because you end up thinking again like the mystery. You're like you're like, wait, how did this happen? What happened here? Why did it happen? You start thinking a lot of these things. So it's another mystery movie that makes you want to watch it every day just so that you can get answers. And then I've been watching a lot of Ryder Strong's movies too. If you don't know who he is, he plays Sean Hunter in Boy Meets World. And yeah, I watched Cabin Fever, which of course everyone knows that movie. Everyone does. For those who don't, I feel bad. But I like that movie. It's a good horror movie. I just recommend not watching it while you're eating because you don't want to get grossed out while eating. And and let's see here. There was also Darkening Sky. I'm not gonna give too much information on what it's about, but it's also kind of like another mystery movie, and it made me. It still makes me think of a lot of questions. I'm like, wait, how? What? Why? How? So it's just a lot in my mind when I watch the movie. Even right now, as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, how did this occur and why? And yeah, it's just a lot of questions for me. So, I love Ryder Strong. I really do. He does really good in his acting. I know he doesn't really do much acting anymore. He mostly focuses on his writing and he focuses on his podcast that he does with Daniel Fishel or Fisher and oh, what was his name? He played Eric Matthews in Boy Meets World. I think Will Friedle. Yeah, I think that's his name. Um, he does a lot of podcasts with them. So even though he doesn't do much acting, he does do a lot of writing and a lot of podcasts with them. So, you know, a lot of times I try watching them on Instagram and just being like, oh yeah, what do they have to say on here? And it's very interesting. And as for myself, I can relate to Sean because I think of the whole absent father kind of theme. I'm not gonna get too much information on that because again, my depression's gonna hit and I'm gonna end up crying and I may not be able to stop. But I'm also kind of like a goofball. Like I think with Sean, there were some things that he said that were, very goofy and weird. But it was like, hey, it's a good kind of weird, and it's like you can kind of relate to his character anyway. So that was another series I've been watching a lot. I've been watching a lot of Boy Meets World until our subscription paused because we got to pay for it and all of that. So yeah, no Disney Plus for us right now. That sucks. It sucks big time because now I don't get to watch. There was a movie I planned on watching. I think it was called Freakier Friday. I don't. I was planning on watching that, and now I won't be able to right now. And let's see here. What else? Just like other Disney movies I planned on watching, I'm not gonna be able to watch it just because of that whole thing. But um, I miss watching Boy Meets World, to be honest with you. So yeah, I miss watching it right now. I really do. And let's see here. Um, I'm trying to think of what else here, but yeah, this has been going on for almost an hour now. It'll be 8 minutes to an hour, but I might I might stop it here just because I'm hungry for starters. If my boyfriend was hearing this and he was like, "Hey, you haven't been eating this whole time," I'm like, "No, like no, I wasn't. I'm sorry." He wouldn't like that. He would be like, "Hey, you gotta eat something." So yeah, yeah, he would be concerned that I'm not eating. He would be. So yeah, I gotta eat, and I always think if not for me, then for him. So, but at the same time, I gotta eat for me. That way, I don't get dizzy. I don't, like get weak. You know, I don't like getting weak to my stomach, and I don't like getting dizzy because that's what happens. Thank you, Trenchy. I hope things get better too. I don't like this. I don't like how all of this is turning out because the way I'm feeling scared and everything, it's just like I want it to end. I just I want to hear from him again. I want to know that he's okay, that he's safe, and that we're okay. Because after reading that message about like like to stop. Oh, what was the message again? Damn. To stop filling his head with the long distance stuff bullshit. I'm thinking, well, it's not like he he lives in this state and I live in like freaking Florida, like or it's not like I live in a different country. It's not like I live in Europe, you know, like that would be a whole lot different. You know, it's not like that. We still live in the same state, but we're just like maybe an hour and a half away from each other, but that's still not bad considering, So, you know, knowing how much he loves me and everything, I know he wouldn't. I know he's not the one doing this. I know he's not the one, saying all of this to me because if he was, you know, then he would have said something sooner. He would have been like, "Hey, I don't think this is working out." He would have said something. He would have been honest with me. But no, he's not like that. He's always honest. He's always telling me the truth. Like he always tells me what he thinks of certain things here and there. And I I love him for it. I love everything about him. So there's nothing I would change about him. Nothing. But just I keep thinking because of all this happening, uh, I do want us to, once he does get back in touch with me and everything, I do want us to, get some things here and there, like, like get Life 360 together. That way, we know where each person is. Like on, I know that he's at work. He'll know I'm at work, or once I get home from work, then he'll know I'm home. But, like he'll see that while he's working because a lot of times that happens. Because with my schedule, I don't get off sometimes until you know, let's say between 2 and 5, 7 p.m., somewhere around there. So, because of that, um, I would want us to get my 360, and I would want to know who his friends are so that way if something like this happens again, at least I have some of his friends I can contact and be like, hey, have you heard from him? Is everything okay? Or like let's say something happens to him and I don't know it, then at least they can call me and say, hey, just so you know, he's at the hospital, but he's okay. At least something. How long has this been going on? It's been like, oh, how long has he been gone? For about 5 days, I think. I think it's been since the 18th. Um, we were, we always, um, what was that? Sorry, got distracted by something. Uh, yeah, it's been happening since, I think the 17th actually. Um, it's been like a week now. That night, I thought he was gonna jump into our server in Discord. That way we can video chat with each other while he drives back home like we always do. And I was waiting and waiting for him, and then he never showed up, and I kept thinking, what's going on? So I tried calling him on Telegram and then his phone number, and I didn't get anything. And that's when I thought, okay, what's going on? So on the 18th, um, I kept thinking, well, I'm still gonna try to keep him updated. So I tried updating him saying, hey, I got to work safe, but then it showed that my message didn't go through, and I'm like, what? What's going on? So that's when I found out, like that's when I kept thinking, like, what's going on? And yeah, with that part, I didn't figure it out. Well, figure it out. I didn't find out about it until I got home, and then I thought, wait, what's going on? And then I tried messaging him, like on Telegram, but it didn't go through because the last time he used his Telegram was in January this year. So it's been a while since he has been using his Telegram. And then on the 19th was when I got that message from him, and I thought, what the fuck just happened? Like, is he really at the hospital? Is he okay? So, yeah, it's leaving me very, very worried, especially since tomorrow is our 1 year anniversary together. I'm just like, I don't want to spend it thinking that thinking the worst. I don't want to be thinking, what if this, what if that. I don't. I want to see that he got back in touch with me and that everything's okay. That's all I want. Even if it's on that day, or if it's the day after. I just want to know that he's okay, because even my birthday's coming up pretty soon, and I don't want to spend my birthday feeling depressed. I rather not. I rather spend my birthday knowing that he's safe, that he's okay, you know, that we're okay as well. Because, like I said, he wouldn't just drop this whole thing like this. He wouldn't do that after being in love with me for quite some time now. You know, he wouldn't do that. He really wouldn't. So yeah, I know him. I know him well enough to know that he wouldn't do something like this. So yeah, I'm waiting. I am waiting for him, but man, I feel like I'm on the urge here, being like, what's going on? So I feel like I'm going crazy at the same time. I feel like I'm going paranoid. But yeah, just right now it's just a whole lot. And then tomorrow I also gotta work. I think I work tomorrow. Let's see here. I work. Uh, I'm trying to find out right now. I work from 8 a.m. to 3:45 p.m., which is not a bad schedule, but it still makes me wonder, like, how am I gonna be at work? Like, am I gonna be okay? Am I gonna be depressed? How am I gonna be? Especially because tomorrow is our 1 year anniversary. It's like I don't want to spend it being all depressed. I would want to spend it knowing that he still loves me, and that you know he'll get back with me soon. Because he always does. He always does. So I want to spend it hoping that I would hear back from him. Because I still hope for that. I really do. I want it to become reality. That's all I want. But as far as this goes, I will keep you guys updated on what's going on. And let's see here. I will try to do some supernatural videos. Like, I don't think I did one of the Wendigo yet. Because I was planning on going through a whole line of the monsters that Sam and Dean hunted and everything. So yeah, I was planning on going down that list, talking about like fun, like facts about those monsters and everything. You know, but I can try doing that soon. I'm not gonna make any promises yet, because chances are, if if something happens along the way and I'm not able to do it at a certain time, then it's like, well, I shouldn't have planned it, because my motto is always don't plan, just do. So yeah, um I will try to do those videos. I just don't know when exactly. So try to be patient with me, and Trenchy, I will reach out to you on Telegram, not Telegram, I'm sorry, on Twitter, and that way we can still talk on there and everything. Take all the time you need. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to finally end it here. Um, I wish you all a good night, and yeah, hopefully I get to make more videos soon. So yeah, just hoping and praying right now. That's all I'm doing. Hoping and praying. So, anyways, see you guys whenever I, start, this, whenever I start the next video. If there's more updates, I can give you more updates. But as far as I know, there's nothing else so far right now. But once I know what else is coming, then I'll let you know. But I'll definitely try doing some supernatural videos. Okay. So see you guys next time. Carry on.